It was the kind of night that chilled you to the bone. The wind howled like it had a vendetta, slicing through my tattered jacket as I tightened my grip on the wrench. I'd just finished fixing the leak under the sink, again, and was about to check on Noah, my 5-year-old son, when I heard the knock. 3 soft taps. Hesitant. Almost afraid. I opened the door and there she was. A girl, no older than 16 or 17. Soaked to the skin, shivering uncontrollably, her arms wrapped around her swollen belly. Her cheeks were red from the cold, her lips trembling. There was a look in her eyes that stopped me cold. Not fear exactly. Something deeper. Hopelessness. "Please," she whispered. "I don't have anywhere else to go." I froze. For a second, all I could hear was the wind and the beating of my own heart. I glanced behind her. No car, no coat, nothing but wet shoes and a plastic bag that looked like it held everything she owned. I should have said no. I had nothing to offer. I was already drowning, 2 jobs, barely making rent, no help from Noah's mom since she left 2 years ago. I was struggling to be a decent father, let alone a savior. But something in her voice, something about the way she didn't beg, didn't cry, didn't even expect kindness, hit me like a punch to the gut. "Come in," I said, stepping aside. She blinked like she wasn't sure she'd heard me right. Then slowly she shuffled in, leaving a trail of rainwater on my floor. I grabbed the extra blanket from the couch and wrapped it around her. "What's your name?" I asked, kneeling down so I wasn't towering over her. "Harper," she murmured. "I'm sorry. I just needed somewhere warm. Just for tonight." I nodded. "You can stay. We'll figure it out." That night I watched her fall asleep on the couch, clutching her belly like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. I didn't know her story. I didn't know who hurt her or why she had nowhere else to go. But I knew pain when I saw it. And I knew what it was like to feel alone in the world. Noah peeked out of his room later and asked, "Daddy, who's that?" "Someone who needed help," I whispered, tucking him back in. "Just like we did once. I thought it would be just one night." I had no idea that letting her in would change everything. The next morning Harper was still there. She hadn't run. Hadn't stolen anything. She was sitting at the kitchen table, clutching a mug of weak coffee like it was a lifeline. Her eyes were puffy, her hair damp from the shower I'd insisted she take. She looked like someone who had forgotten what it meant to feel safe. I slid a plate of scrambled eggs across to her. "Eat." She hesitated, then nodded. "Thank you." I didn't ask questions. Not at first. I figured if she wanted to talk she would. And until then I could give her space. I let her stay another night. And another. I told myself it was temporary, that I was just helping someone who needed it. But the truth was it felt good to help. It gave me purpose again. Noah? He adored her. She read to him in the evenings, helped him with puzzles, even taught him a silly lullaby that made him laugh until he hiccuped. There was a quiet tenderness in the way she treated him. Like she'd known pain too intimately to ever want a child to feel it. It wasn't until a week had passed that she finally opened up. I was sitting on the porch watching the wind rustle through the bare trees. She stepped out, wrapping my old jacket around her too small frame. "I should tell you the truth," she said, sitting beside me. "You deserve that much." I looked at her but didn't speak. My mom kicked me out when I told her I was pregnant. She said I was a disgrace. My boyfriend, he vanished when he found out. I stayed with a friend for a while, then in a shelter. But they only let you stay a few days at a time. Then I was on the street. Her voice cracked and I saw her jaw tighten like she was trying to choke the tears back. I was scared. So scared. But that night, when I saw the light in your window, something told me to knock. I thought you'd slam the door in my face. "You looked like you needed a door to stay open," I said. She let out a shaky breath. "Why did you help me?" I stared down at my calloused hands. "Because once, someone helped me. When Noah was a baby and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, a neighbor used to leave bags of diapers and food outside my door. I never knew who it was. They never asked for thanks. Just kindness, I guess." She didn't say anything. Just nodded and wiped her cheek. That night I found a note she'd left on the coffee table. "If you want me to leave, I will. I don't want to be a burden. But if you let me stay, I promise, I'll find a way to repay you. Somehow." I held the note in my hand for a long time. What she didn't know, what I hadn't admitted even to myself, was that ever since she walked into our lives, the house didn't feel so heavy anymore. My silence didn't echo so loud. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel so alone. But I had no idea the price she would pay just to survive. And what it would eventually cost me. 2 months passed. The house felt different now. Warmer. Fuller. Harper wasn't just a guest anymore. She was part of our strange little family. She folded laundry beside me on Sundays, helped Noah with his reading, and cooked simple meals that somehow tasted better than anything I'd made in years. But more than that, she smiled now. Not often. Not wide. But when she laughed with Noah or felt the baby kick, there was a light in her that hadn't been there before. And I started to feel like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't completely broken either. We found a rhythm. I worked long shifts as a mechanic and she stayed home resting, reading, waiting for the day her baby would arrive. We talked about finding her a program, maybe a GED when things stabilized. I told her she could stay as long as she needed. I meant it. Then everything changed. It was a Thursday. Cold again with a biting wind rattling the windows. I came home late, arms sore, back aching, and the house was quiet. Too quiet. Noah. I called. Harper. Nothing. I found Noah asleep in his bed, safe and warm. But Harper, she was gone. The blanket on the couch still held the shape of where she used to nap. Her coat was missing. Her shoes too. On the kitchen table next to a half-eaten apple was a note. Just 3 words scribbled in shaky handwriting. I'm so sorry. My heart dropped. I checked the street. The shelter. Even the train station. I asked around town. Nobody had seen her. It was like she'd vanished into thin air. No trace. No goodbye. Just that empty space she left behind, and the silence that rushed back in to take her place. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the hallway with her note in my hand, staring at the spot where she used to sit on the floor and fold Noah's socks. I kept telling myself she'd come back. That maybe she just needed air. Maybe she was scared of becoming a burden. But as the hours passed and the sun rose, reality settled like a stone in my chest. She was gone. Days turned into weeks. Then a month. And still, nothing. No phone call. No knock at the door. Just a hole in our lives that couldn't be filled. Noah asked about her every night. When will Harper come back? And every time I lied, soon, buddy. She's just figuring things out. But inside I was sure I'd failed her. I was supposed to protect her. He trusted me. And I let her disappear into the cold just like the night she arrived. I tried to move on. But the truth was, I missed her. More than I ever expected to. And then 1 year later, on a rainy Thursday much like the night she first came, someone knocked on the door again. I opened it and the breath left my body. She stood there, drenched, older, thinner, but alive. And in her arms she held a baby boy that I stood frozen in the doorway, the rain pounding behind her like a drumbeat. Her eyes were the same, tired, searching, but filled with something new. Something softer. The baby in her arms whimpered. Hi, she said quietly. I didn't know where else to go. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat was thick with something I hadn't let myself feel in a long time. Relief. Come in, I finally said. She stepped inside slowly, cradling the baby close. I helped her out of her wet coat, noticing the tremble in her hands. The baby, no more than a few months old, had deep brown eyes and a tuft of dark hair. He clung to her shirt like she was the only thing keeping him safe. Maybe she was. Noah peeked out from the hallway. Harper? He asked, rubbing his eyes. She turned, tears brimming instantly. Hi, sweetheart. He ran to her and hugged her tightly around the waist. I missed you. She dropped to her knees, hugging him with one arm, the baby squirming slightly in the other. I missed you more. We sat down that night after Noah was asleep, just the 3 of us in the living room. I asked the question I'd been carrying for a year. Why did you leave? She stared at the fire, silent for a long time. Then she said, I was scared. I felt like I didn't deserve that much kindness. I thought if I stayed I'd only ruin what you had. What Noah had. You were never a burden, Harper. She looked at me, eyes full of shame and hope all at once. I wanted to come back so many times. But then the baby came and it was hard. No money. No support. I didn't know if I'd even survive some nights. But I kept thinking about you. About Noah. This place. And something in me said, maybe I still had a chance to come home. I stared at the baby in her arms, then back at her. What's his name? Her voice broke a little. Micah. And then she said something that shattered me in the best way. I want you to know. I named him after your middle name. Because you saved me. I looked down at the baby. He was watching me with those big eyes, unblinking. And in that moment I felt it, something shift. Something heal. This wasn't charity. It never had been. This was family. Chosen, forged through pain and second chances. Over the next few months, Harper stayed. He got a part-time job. I helped her enroll in GED classes. Noah adored his new baby brother. And slowly we built something that felt a lot like peace. Years passed. Micah learned to walk on the same kitchen floor Harper once tiptoed across in fear. She graduated. Got certified as a nursing assistant. And one summer evening as we sat watching the boys play in the yard, she said something I'll never forget. You didn't just save me that night. You gave me something I didn't know I needed. Hope. And now I get to give it back. Every day. I smiled, the lump rising in my throat. Because what I hadn't told her, what she didn't know, was that before she knocked on my door I was drowning too. Grief had turned me into a shell. No one needed me but I was barely holding it together. And then came this girl, pregnant, terrified, shivering on my porch. I thought I was saving her. But in truth she became my miracle. Moral of the story. A single act of kindness can ripple through time in ways you'll never expect. When you open your door to someone in need, you might just open the door to your own salvation.